Okay. Hello, everyone. Good evening, and welcome to our monthly webinar. And this is UNILORIN, our user group. On the chat, please can we drop where we are joining from, your name, tell us where you are joining from, and if you belong to UNILORIN, our user group, you tell us. If you belong to another user group, you tell us. Please do that in the chat while we go on with the session, please. Thank you. While we are doing that, we are welcoming our speaker. We have my co-host with me. I have Dr. Garba and I have Mr. Ezekiel and Dr. Farambi on the call alongside with our speaker here. So, welcome to every one of us. So, with an emoji, can we appreciate them for coming and thank them for coming? So, it's good to have you here, Mr. Speaker. Yes, thank you. So once again, welcome to the UNILORIN our user group event. And this webinar happens monthly basis. We're trying to groom ourselves into our programming generally. We want everyone to put ourselves in the place very comfortable when using this our program. So we'll be starting up on the chat of the on the channel. Please drop where you're chatting us from, where you're joining us from, and your name. Please tell us so we can know. Thank you. So our agenda for today, welcoming of participants, but I am done about the R UNILORIN user group, meet our UNILORIN R user group organizers, then the meetup in proper. So first, about the University of Ilorin R user group, we are thrilled to have you to join us as we explore. Okay. Okay, so welcome again, everyone. Thank you and welcome again, everyone, to the University of Ilorin R user group event. So this is our monthly webinars where we come together and teach ourselves the newness of anything new within the R user group community. And we have our amazing speaker here with us. So join us as we go on. So like I said, we are thrilled to have you join us to explore the dynamic world of functional programming and data science using the R programming language. Our mission is to foster the use of R in data analytics, data science, and its impactful application across diverse fields such as businesses, health, and research. Whether you are just starting or you are an experienced professional, this is a unique opportunity to connect with fellow enthusiasts, share knowledge, deepen your understanding of data science. At our Result Group, we aim to build a robust community of data science, artificial intelligence, and machine learning professionals and academics through collaboration, mentorship, seminars, trainings, and conferences. And we are committed to nurturing talent and drive innovation in this field. So if you are excited to be here, please give yourself a round of applause or use the emoji to just do a celebration so I can see it. Thank you. Yes. How do you join us? We have with the support of the R Consortium grants, we have created a meetup.com page where everyone is keen to join us and can visit the Arida group while the event is ongoing. We will drop the link on the chat so we can all have the link if you have not joined the meetup page yet. Currently, we have 700 plus members in our community, which is an exciting one. We are quite big. And so meet our organizers. I have Dr. MK Garuba, is our host. Then I am Adela, your co-host. I have Mr. Ezekiel Gudepo as also a co-host. Then I have Dr. S. Farambi, is also the co-host for the R Visa organizer. So if you see us on Meetup, you can always send us a message. If you have any concerns, please reach out to anyone amongst the four of us. Thank you. So we have a code of conduct, right? For every home, there is always a rule, right? So our rules are not something really out of the box. It's just within the box. So we have some expected behavior. All participants are expected to one treat each other with respect, courtesy, and consideration. We don't want anyone to feel intimidated. Honor different viewpoints and experience. Avoid discriminatory or harassment behavior and speech. We don't want anyone to feel engulfed in their shell, saying, "Oh, if I should speak, and if I'm saying the right thing," or you make them feel lost while giving a talk. So please let's avoid that. So unexpected behavior, we have harassment and abusive behavior will not be tolerated, including we don't know how small or limited it is. So, but it's not limited to one offensive comments or insults related to gender, sexual orientation, disability, race, age, or religion. We don't accept that. So religious appearance or any other protected characteristics, we don't accept that kind of behavior. Deliberating intimidation and stalking or following, we don't do that. Harassing photography, recording without consent, you have to seek consent of everyone before you record. It's just a GDPR thing. You just have to go through these bylaws. So harassing photos or recording without consent, I've mentioned that. Inappropriate physical contact or sexual imaginaries, we don't want that. We don't send that to our anybody on the team or anybody in the community. We don't do that, please. Sustaining disruption of talk when a speaker is speaking. Please, we need to respect everyone as they join. As a speaker, we need to give him his time to give his speech. And when he's done with his talk, we can always drop questions on the chats and we'll have someone pick it up and give it to the speaker to answer that for us. So please, let's respect the speaker when he's talking. Let's not disrupt him when he is talking. Thank you. And here, our speaker, Mr. Henry. Okay, do we call him Dr. Henry now? So Dr. Henry, who is not here. Okay. So Mr. Henry Makinde, he was speaking to us on harnessing our packages for modern artificial intelligence. Yes. So let's know about our speaker. So our speaker's name, like I said, is he has 3 names here, but before we know 2 names, so we can call him any of them. So we have Henry Somi Makinde. He's a PhD candidate in educational measurement at UNC Greensboro. Did I get that correct or you correct us? Okay, specializing in psychometric and AI application in assessment with 8 years of experience in statistics, data science, and large language models. He has led projects on automated item generation, RAG systems, and AI-driven scoring with national organizations like NCCPA, PAEA, and Focal Point Education. Join me as I welcome Mr. Henry Somi Makinde to the stage to give us his talk. Please, with an emoji, give him a round of applause, please, while he gives us the session. Thank you. Welcome, Mr. Henry. The floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Adiola. Let me first start by appreciating the fact that we have this our user group. I think if we had this during my undergraduate life, would have been much more easier for us. I want to thank GBG, especially Dr. Galba. Thank you. It's a privilege to get to meet you again. So I'll jump right into what we'll be discussing today while I share my screen.
Why is this still not? Okay. Okay, I think you can. I've stopped sharing, so you're going to share now.
Please, you can confirm when you're able to see my screen.
Oh, yes, we can.
Okay. Awesome. So my name is Henry Somi Makinde. I'm a PhD candidate at University of North Carolina, Greensboro. I founded Dr. AI Academy sometimes last year, where we talk about everything and anything AI. And we've gone over the years. And also in my program, which is educational measurement, basically we call it psychometrics. My dissertation is tilting towards automatic item generation using large language models. So I've been tilting towards the use of AI for education and assessment generally. So that's what brought me to the AI space. And let's jump right into what we'll be covering today. A little intro about LLM and how we are going to integrate it with R. We'll jump into what are the learning objectives. Then we'll talk about the different current R packages that we have. Then before we jump into the R packages, we talk about API integration, how we integrate, how we assess all of these large language models using R. Then the packages that we have now that we can use to assess, to run these LLM models locally on our R studio. Then we jump into the hands-on exercises and explanation of how all of these tools, all of these packages are being used currently. Then there's a mini shiny project, and also we have time for question. Um, I'm going to drop everything will be covering. I have them already on a GitHub, so I'm just going to drop it on the YouTube live. So for people that might want to follow or might want to request for the file later, you can just go on the GitHub and download the all the R script and also these PowerPoint presentations, just so that it could be as helpful for you later on. So let's jump right into it. Um, Artificial intelligence generally is not just reshaping R or Python whatsoever. It's reshaping everything we are doing. Every field is being affected. Every organization is being affected. And it's becoming a norm that one needs to know how to use these things. And 2 years ago, while I was picturing what do I want to do for my dissertation that makes sense, because of my background in statistics, and in my master's I had a computational statistics background, I needed to do something. I moved into educational research methodology, psychometric. I needed to, you know, find a balance between my quantitative background and what is being done in psychometrics. So I started tilting towards what we refer to as computational psychometrics. Now, a lot of exposure I saw there needed me to move from R to Python. That was a shift I did not prepare for, because I wanted to start doing so many things with AI, and I just don't know how to use Python as at then. And because R cannot do some of these things, then it becomes important and paramount for me to switch to Python. So for the past 2 years, I would say I've left my first love, R, and I've majored in Python. However, earlier this year, because I still needed to do so many statistical analyses, I still run some classification model and so many things in R. I wanted to do the things I'm doing with Python in R. So I jumped on, did some courses on Positron, just looking for things to how I can, balance things up. And I saw cool packages that were recently released, and well, not they are not totally there yet, but I think it's a good start, and there's just so many things we can do for people like GBG. If you are looking for packages to develop, I think now is a good time, because we need a lot of our packages that can integrate LLMs and do so many more things, because they have a ton of it. We could just look into what they have and try to see if we could replicate it in R. But yes, that experience kind of made me start going into R again, because I could now start doing some things I couldn't do prior to now. So that's how I found myself again doing one or two things with R. So we all know how tedious coding can get, especially when you are doing a lot of things at the same time. I think modeling will be one of the simplest things. Once you have cleaned the data, you are ready. It's 2, 3 lines of code, you run your model. So I wouldn't say those are much, but for when you are building stuffs, maybe shiny, or you are running a full projects, you jump into several orders that sometimes it takes you week, it takes you months. Thank God for this LLMs, ChatGPT and the likes that we can now jump into and just get our code faster. Uh, Thank God for this, guys. Proud to now. Believe me when I say we sleep on documentation, we sleep on Stack Overflow, just to get a line of code to work. It was more tougher to learn how to code before now, and it's becoming way easier to learn how to code now. So that's why integrating R and AI is important. So I'll be talking about a couple of packages today. And by the end of this workshop, we understand what LLMs can do inside R, at least to some extent. We will use some designed R packages for AI workflows. We'll build functional AI powered tools, and we can apply this in our day-to-day work. The last time I coded from scratch would be 2 years ago. Not because I cannot, but I've paid the price of, learning from scratch, way from my undergrad, University of Illinois. We've paid the price of learning from scratch, and afterwards I kept on developing myself. So it's easier for me to jump on ChatGPT and say, write this code for me, and I copy it and I modify it because I know exactly what I need to do. It's just going to take me a ton of time to come up with that, and maybe not as nice as the one ChatGPT would do, or sometimes I could, but because I have the foundational knowledge, I know what I need to do per time. I'm in control. So I am not just doing garbage in, garbage out. I have full understanding of what I want that line of code to do. And that is kind of what we need in this age, understanding the contextual knowledge, having your domain expertise. As a statistician, your domain expertise is the most important things. The important thing right here. You can't just jump in because ChatGPT can run the code and you copy it and you use it. We don't do that. But because of our domain expertise, we tell what to do and we get the right responses out of this LLM. That's the difference from people just jumping in and trying to solve a problem using that. So today we'll be talking about a couple of packages: ellmer, Ganda. The 5 on this side are things we are going to be talking about: ellmer, Ganda, BTW, Mall, and Shiny Chat. All of these, I'm going to explain them. However, they might be beyond the scope of this intro courses for harnessing R with LLM. So, but we are going to start with all of this since there's something still not necessarily basic, but then we can easily relate with it. Because once we start jumping into mcptools, we have moved away from the basics of artificial intelligence into agentic system. When we start using Ragnar, we are moving into retrieval augmented generation system. So those are kind of on the high level side, so which we can plan for and kind of touch base on as we if I get the opportunity again, if we kind of plan it together, we can build an entire coursework based on this and everybody gets to understand. So I'll be explaining each of these tools and what they do. Then we can, afterwards, we'll move into other things and jump into the code. So let's start with the first 5 we'll be talking about. ellmer. ellmer was created earlier this year or late last year. I'm not sure of the dates now, but ellmer lets you chat with LLMs like GPT or Claude or Gemini directly from your app for text generation, coding help, and analysis. With Elmer, you can do a lot of things, a lot just within your space. You don't need to start moving from, if you use Positron or you use VS Code, you know, the chat interface you have where you can integrate with any of the LLM. You just start asking questions within the same interface. Think of Elmer like something like that, but now it kind of gives you a little bit control where you are able to assess not just the console but also the environment of your R studio, and that way you are still in total control of what the code should do or not do. So that's what we are going to talk about first. Then the second package here is Ganda. Ganda is also something similar, but it pops up. You can literally tell it to, with an AI assistant inside our studio, is an add-in where once you add it in, you can call it anytime you use it. Oh, I need this, I need to modify this particular line of code. What do you think I should write? And with this, Ganda writes the code for you. You can retweak the code. So instead of having Elmer run things automatically, you can have an add-in on the side as you're coding. Just ask Ganda Alpha, run this thing for me, and you get immediate responses. The third one is BTW. Now, with BTW, what Elmer Ganda does not really totally do is that they do not understand enough of the context of your data frame. So, but with BTW, you can send your data frame into the LLM so they understand. So the output kind of makes sense when you are using them. So it becomes a little more cooler that you have BTW sending your data frames, summaries, and what you need to do exactly into that R script that you're working on, and thereby your output, the output that the LLM is giving, is more contextual than just using Ellmer or Ganda. Mol is a very nice one because I've been working on classification and somehow using ChatGPT, Claude, and the likes to just say, can you classify this into, you know, the time it takes us to build machine learning algorithms that kind of make sense and give us the desired accuracy takes time, right? But I think one major shift that we are going to be having is the fact that we might be doing away with some of these machine learning algorithms in future. Now, the only problem that we currently have is the unexplainability of ChatGPT's output, because people don't believe the output and they are not in control of the variables and how it came up with that classification. It becomes difficult for people to say they want to use it. So, which is one major shift that our field is going to experience. Unexplainability because of the black boxes. We statisticians, we need to be able to explain our models, but because we are unable to do that with large language models, it becomes difficult for us to accept these things. But whether we like it or not is a paradigm shift. So we need to start shifting towards becoming the people that can pioneer that explainability, coming to the fact that, okay, how do we explain how this thing works? And that goes back to us learning how transformer models came to be. But with MOL, basically, we can do a couple of NLP tasks like sentiment analysis, different classification, predicting outcomes, just like we do with supervised and unsupervised learning. MOL can do something like that for us. Then Shiny Chat. Shiny Chat is kind of very neat. Anybody can, it's kind of you just building your own body, your own guy that can literally help you to do a lot of things. And Shiny Chat is also used when you are building Shiny application. So once you build Shiny application, you know, all those, think of it like all those customer care bots that you ask questions and they give you responses. Now you are building a Shiny customer care, a small interactive chatbot within your Shiny app that whatever question and however the user wants to use it, they can easily jump into the Shiny cart to be able to use that for your Shiny application whenever they have questions. So instead of reaching out to the admin that what am I going to do, how do we do this, they can easily ask the Shiny cart. And that is a game changer for me, particularly because I get a lot of that with where I'm working. I've built a couple of Shiny application and I still get emails of where do we put the variable v or something very, very basic. And sometimes I just like, it's just there, so it's frustrating sometimes that the questions is very simple, but they will have to send you questions, you have to respond automatically. So but with Shiny app, I think it's going to help them a lot. Now we have other tools that we might not touch base on, but I'm just going to explain it just so you get a sense of possibilities, especially if you are into artificial intelligence and large language models. These AI tools are going to be very, very useful for you. Particularly, they are useful for me, but I would say I am just getting to use them in the R space, so I'm not totally comfortable with them yet. That's also one of the reasons why we're not totally talking about it, but there are codes already. But so I'm just going to touch base on explain each of them before we move to the next thing. Kuzo. Kuzo provide AI-based computer vision capabilities such as describing or analyzing image. Think of Kuzo like CNN. Now, CNN convolutional neural network is it's a deep learning approach. Am I right? CNN is an approach that we use for image analysis, right? So you think of Kuzo like CNN. It does that, but imagine your AI doing that for you. One of the toughest model to build is CNN, right? And it takes a lot of time. But with Kuzo, you could easily analyze these images just like you would want your CNN to do, and you predict a more reasonable outcomes. So that's what Kuzo does. Vitals. Vitals is pretty cool, but again, most of this is because of their explainability. How do you explain your decision rules, your F1 score, your accuracy, your all of the things we do with AI? How do you know, it's difficult to explain, but they are there for now. So we need everybody to jump on this task and we can build our environment together. So Vitals is used to evaluate model prediction, their performance, and the classification outputs. We can, okay, if we say that this function or this particular thing is supposed to act this way, we can use Vitals to evaluate the predictions. We can use Vitals to see whether this is actually functioning well. We can use Vitals to checkmate our model. Is it right? Is it the best fit for what we are doing? We can use Vitals to check the performance. We can use Vitals to check the classification output. Vitals is just there to evaluate all of what we have built, such that we are able to tell stories about what these particular models are doing easily without breaking our head in documentations and interpretations. Now, on to the next is Retrieval Augmented Generation System, RAG. RAG system is one of my favorite things. I've done a couple of projects with RAG. And RAG now, I find it quite nice and neat. Done just one project with it. It was cool, but I still prefer my Python LangChain and all of the things I used to be in my RAG. They are very, very easy. So RAG is, let me quickly digress to explain how we got to RAG. When we add artificial intelligence, large language models, there are methodologies under them. The methodologies under large language model, we start with prompt engineering. And prompt engineering is just basically crafting instructions to your LLM to get an output based on that defined instruction. And you can do that either through API call or through the chat interface. Now, a lot of people call themselves prompt engineer because they go to ChatGPT and just write some prompt and get it out. No, that's not totally what prompt engineering is. Your ability to call the model. Now, ChatGPT is the chat interface of GPT model. So your ability to call the GPT model itself and tell it to do exactly what you want to do. And thereby you are able to change or tweak some of the hyperparameters there, like the temperature. The temperature from 0 to 1 is more like the degree of randomness. If the temperature is above 1, it gives you plausible options. The next thing is going to generate is going to be as much. But if the randomness is small, that means the prediction is high and it's going to generate something more accurate. Now, your ability to tweak those parameters is what we kind of term as prompt engineering. Your ability to tweak all of those things. What you are doing with chat interface is also prompt engineering, but there's more to that. Your ability to call the model, tweak the parameters, kind of make you a prompt engineer, if that makes sense. I can get enough prompt. There's no defined, I can define prompt as much as I want. It's just what instruction works best for me. What instructions gives me the outputs, and all you need to do is continue to refine your instruction till you get the best outcome, which I think is what prompt engineering is. After we moved away from prompt engineering, people were not liking the output of prompt engineering, so they delved into what we refer to as fine-tuning. Fine-tuning is where we do a lot of weight change, where we kind of tweak the model, try to make it domain specific. Let's say, since I'm in the field of education and I want the model to function as an education specialist, I'm going to fine-tune the model and turn it to an education specialist, if that makes sense. However, to do this also is a very tedious approach. Fine-tuning kind of prompt gives a hallucination. Fine-tuning to do it requires a lot of computational power. It requires a lot of GPU and it's cost and expensive. So people ran away from fine-tuning. Then they built what we refer to as RAG system. RAG is retrieval augmented generation system, where you have the model that you want to use and an external knowledge. In one of my projects, I wanted to build automatic item generation for medical specialists. Automatic item is basically generating questions using AI. But I need to make that AI specific to the field of medicine. So I downloaded PubMed articles on cardiovascular disease, and I added that knowledge to GPT model. At that time, GPT-4. I added that model together and I started generating. Now, what I did then, I gave the model an external knowledge such that he understands the context where I'm coming from. Then we can generate whatever we want to generate. Now it reduces hallucination. It makes something up to date. What if what you are doing is not up to date? With RAG, you'll be up to date because you are giving it the knowledge of the present knowledge or the current knowledge. So that's what RAG is. And there have been a lot of packages for retrieval augmented generation system. However, in R, Ragnar is one of the first that is specifically for building a RAG system. Again, we're going to touch base on all of this if we have the opportunities to, or if our organizers give us opportunities to do that. Of course, I'm more than happy to talk about this. That's what I like doing lately. mcptools is now after RAG, then we have CRAG, which is context RAG. Then we have agentic system, which is the state of art. Everybody want to build an agent. Now, agent is allowing your model to, or your GPT or whatever you build to work autonomously, to do so many things autonomously without human interference. But you can, of course, add human interference. So what they now built mcptools because you need more like an extension that could connect all the things you want to do. You want data from PubMed, you want a web search, you want something from the web search, you want things from any you want to connect to Google Drive, you want to connect to GitHub, all of that, you need a space where all of this is going to come together to connect to. Then you can start doing what you're doing. So mcptools connects R to AI tools using the model context protocol. It lets AI tools talk to R sessions and let R talk to external tools like GitHub or Google Drive. So mcptools is like an extension bus where you can plug all the things you want in your project into, and it kind of help you to manage it, if that makes sense. Now we have chores, we have buggy, and we have ensure. Chores automatically writes documentation, tests, and one thing about developers, package authors, is the fact that you have to write documentation, test, and code improvement. With chores, you can do that. I wanted to show us how to do that, but if time permits, I'll just show something simple. But of course, if time does not, I think I have the script and examples, but this is going to be useful for our developers and package authors. Now, buggy detects bug. I think one major thing we all will face, whether you're an expert user or you are new, I believe GBG still gets errors. I believe GBG still gets errors. I want to believe Dr. Gaba might get some error, but I mean, but I get error every day. And the fact that I have buggy, or I can just copy that error and put it in any of the LLM, they explain it to me, it's kind of a game changer for me. It's a lifesaver. I have been in spaces where for 1 week I can't go forward, I can't go backward because I'm waiting for somebody in Stack Overflow to give me a response to my problem, which I never got, and I went back. So I am happy that I now have AI tools that can easily debug and make me work more efficiently. So buggy is doing something like that, but within the interface, you get that error, it reads the error, he explains the error to you in English language, so that you know exactly what the error is. Not error, like, you know how our errors are, that you have to really understand what that line is saying before you can trace it. But with buggy, he explains that error in English and you get to, use it. Ensure generates unit tests automatically for our functions using AI. So these are kind of what the tools that I'm familiar with. There might be more that I'm not. Of course, we are exploring every day. That's why we are in the R space. But these are tools I know for now that I'm kind of familiar with. But due to time, we're going to be touching base on this 5, okay? And this 5, ellmer, Gander, BTW, Mall, and Shiny Chat. And from there, maybe some other time, I just do not see a reason why to do Ragnar, MC tools without really learning LLM itself, learning prompt engineering, fine-tuning, like a particular 1 hour or 2 hours course. Then we can now start applying this package to them. That way it kind of makes sense. But yes, on to the next. Now, the first thing that we need to learn how to do is integrating those chatbots with our R interface. And there's something we use to do that, which we call API, Application Programming Interface. It's a structured way for R code to talk to an external service, Application Programming Interface. So when we want to use ellmer or other LLM packages, your R session sends a request, let's say your prompt, to an AI model provider, which OpenAI or Anthropic, and it receives a response back in any format you want it to be like. So if you want to talk to GPT, if you want GPT, you want to have conversation with GPT, you have to have that key, API key. You have to create an API key for you to be able to connect with these LLMs. And that way you are able to use the model themselves, if that makes sense. Now, the next is to talk about the models themselves. The first is LLM package chat models. We have the GPT-4, GPT-5. Now, I think last week we have GPT 5.1, and I was angry because I was still learning how to use GPT-5. I mean, it's hard to keep up sometimes, but we just have to do what we have to do. So, we have test models, which basically what they do is generating test and summarization. We have BAT, DBATA, ROBATA, all those T5, all those earlier models that were generated, earlier models that were built when we first had the transformer model in 2017. Those are the test models, the embedding models. We have vision models, we have function callings, we have vector database. Now, these are things that requires us to, do an API call. And these are things that requires us to call a particular model to help us to do. For vector databases, we have Pinecone, Weavelight, we have ChromaDB, we have Files. These are different vector databases that we can literally use whenever we are looking for vector databases. Basically, what vector databases implies here is to talk to if you are building like a rack system, your database, you have to your corpus, which is database, you have to convert them to vectors. Now, if you convert them to vectors, you need somewhere to store them. Now, this is where vector databases come in. You go in and store them in vector databases. Again, most of this we could do that, but the goal of this is to give us some intro, and hopefully we kind of have on another section to talk based on all of what to teach AI properly. Then we can now start integrating R into them. So that way we are all on the same page. However, I know like some people that are ahead of all of these things I'm saying and they kind of get it, but for the sake of the community and the diverse people, we just kind of streamline it a little bit. Our packages interact with major AI companies offering LLMs. We have OpenAI. OpenAI have several models. For the test embedding, they have test embedding 3, they have test embedding 2, they have several, at least 8 models. GPT-2 is free now. Is it free? Okay, we have 2 free open source models. They are OpenAI released 2 free open source model, the 120 and $60 billion parameter model. So well, we have variant of OpenAI, we have variant of Anthropic, Claude 3, Claude 4, Claude 4.5, Opus, Sonus, IQ. We have Gemini 1.5, 1.0, the vision models. We have the 2.5. We have the banana, Google Nano Banana. So we have a couple of decent models with Google, with Anthropic, with OpenAI. Then the others are open source models, Mistral, Koi, and kind of there are ways to link to them. We call them model providers like LangChain, Grok, Replicate, Fireworks, where we have all of these models embedded within those frameworks. For me particularly, I use LangChain. Some people like Llama. If you're a Llama user, you won't like LangChain. LangChain is a little bit complicated, but I kind of like the fact that I have everything within the same space. So these are frameworks where you can connect to all and many of these models at the same time, and you'll be just fine. So most R packages let you switch providers by changing a single parameter on an environment variable. We are going to jump into that soon. But this will be the end of my current my slide that I want to show you before we jump into R. So while I pull my R script up, do we have any question for me? If there's any question from the chat or anybody in the audience before we jump into the nitty-gritty of what we'll be doing.
Right. Thank you so much, Mr. Henry. While we wait for you, if you have any questions, please proceed to ask your questions on the chat while we read out to the speaker for you. Thank you. We'll give us a few minutes for people to ask their questions. Yeah, I think everyone is good.
Okay, is one of two things. Either I'm doing a good job or a terrible one.
Oh,
But
it's a good one actually because it was quite explanatory and we're able to follow you along the slides. Yes,
awesome,
it's a good one.
awesome. All right. Again, I have dropped this in the chat so you can download all of these guys. You can download them in you can download them. So we're just going to get right into the first guy, ellmer. And we'll talk about the 6 core areas of ellmer. I've already defined ellmer earlier on. And I said ellmer lets you chat with the LLMs directly from the R. So I already had that definition out there. So let's start with setup and load ellmer. Before we do that, a couple of things we need to do is first, you need to ensure that you have your folder set. Let's say mine is everything I'll be talking about in this particular folder. Now, the first thing to do is to get your APIs, right? To get your API so that you can, to get a key. GBGIs, can see your hands up.
Thank you so much. We have a question from the participant. Number one, I have been running a code on spatial modeling under multivariate analysis. However, my code has not been running due to the dimension of my data. What AI can I use to correct that error? That's the first question.
I believe this ellmer should be able to help, and once Gandalf should help. A lot of all these tools that we are going to be talking about will be helpful to the person. Somebody say I should change my appearance to white so they could see it properly. Let me see. Will this work? I like the dark guy, but I mean, let's change it to something else. So something here. Okay, let's just maybe use this. Oh, that looks weird to me. Yeah, I've been using a lot of dark. Is this better? Okay. So before we jump into, for the person that asked that question, that's you're very correct. That's why what we're trying to do is integrate R. Okay, I should increase the font size. All right. Much better, I believe. So one thing I would do, I would say is that what we are trying to do is to bring, what ellmer is trying to do is to bring all of this, any AI tool you want to use into your R Studio, such that you can ask all of these questions you want to ask. So for your spatial modeling, analysis, and multivariates, with that, you can integrate ellmer or Buggy within that, and they help you to, you get what I'm saying as I proceed into what we'll be talking about today. So Let's start. First, before we do this, is we need to set up our API key configuration. So I will be I'm OpenAI guy. So everything I do is with OpenAI. So let me stop share and just quickly take you to OpenAI if you are able to access it, or if you have access. I would say you should use one of two things, and I will show you the second one. I will show you the second one. So this is OpenAI. First, you need to create an account. You need to create an account. Let's say openai.com. If it brings you here, I have an account. So you need to create an account. Then you go to the API platform. Because I have an account, it just takes me right into my existing platform. And for me, I'm going into the API keys. On the top right here, you can see my profile, API keys, billing address. You have to fund the account, of course, to use it, because we call something, they charge you per token for each token size, depending on the model you use. So I've created a couple of APIs for different training. You see, our training, this API is particularly for this training that we are doing. So I am using, and to create it, you just hit on click, create new, and you create an API key. And that's one. I think another one is Cloud Console. If you have your Cloud Console, you can. I've not used Cloud for any of my projects, because most of my projects are organizational. So I have to use OpenAI Enterprise, because we want to ensure confidentiality of some of our data set. But I think one major one that you can use for free is Grok. Grok is totally free. All my demo things I do is with Grok. So once you come on Grok, I will show you, it's the same name, it's just going to be chat Grok, right? So once you come on Grok, you are able to create an API key for yourself, and you do whatever you want to do with it. So the first thing to do is create an API key. Now, once you create an API key with OpenAI, you open your notes. You open your notes immediately and save it there. You open your notepad immediately and save your API key, because you can lose them. So this is my API key, which I'm not supposed to be showing, but then that's the API key. You save it somewhere so that you can go back to it and use it anytime you want to use it, if that makes sense. So the first thing is to, again, fund your OpenAI account. Fund your OpenAI account. Once you fund your OpenAI account, you can create as many API key as you want. So that's the first thing. Now let me share my screen for the R, and we can go from there. Now, having created an API key for any model you want to do, ellmer supports OpenAI, Anthropic, Gemini, or Llama. Each provider requires an API key, each Llama for local models, except for Llama, because Llama is CPU based. Now, why this matters, I've talked about the importance of this, and the best practice when you are using this to get your API key. This is also there. So I added this such that when you needed it, you just click on the link. Now, why this is important, the first thing is because I want to publish it on GitHub, some of the things I do. Your API key is supposed to be your private key. It's supposed to be your own personal information. So you cannot be saving your API key in the same script you are using. Like in this same script, you cannot be saving your API key here, right? You cannot be saving your API key here. You have to create an environment variable. Now, there are a couple of ways to do it, but for my convenience, this is the one I am using, R profile. Now, I'll create, to create it is quite easy. You just hit on those plus there and hit on test file. Once you hit on test file, it just be .r profile, right? And you create it in that same folder that you are working in. So that's the first thing to do. I've created mine and I have added my OpenAI API key here. And the next, I'm going to show you why I needed Ganda here. That's the next one. But yeah, so that's the first thing to do. So I'm going to start loading. I've installed this. For you to install it, it's install.packages ellmer. I have already installed it. So I'm going to start by running it. And then we move into examples. This is just for me to verify that my OpenAI key is working perfectly. So it's an if statement to confirm my key is working perfectly. I want to see this. So no OpenAI key found in the environment variables. So that's because I haven't run this guy. So I'm just going to go to my profile here and I'm going to run this line of code. Now I've run my API key. So let's go back to ellmer and run the if statement again. Now OpenAI detected and ready to use. So the first is you create what we call the chat object. The chat object is, think of it like opening sections that remembers everything you have discussed, or defining what your model is supposed to do. So create a chat object with system prompt. So the first thing is once you have this, anything you want to use, chat, once you call on chat, you see different things. Look at chat Anthropic, chat Azure, chat Bedrock, chat Claude, chat Cortex, chat DeepSeek. DeepSeek is also free. Chat Gemini, chat GitHub, chat Grok. So it's the same line of code, right? So I named it as chat and I called chat OpenAI, because I'm using OpenAI, and you have the system prompt, you have the model prompt. I'm using GPT-4o mini because it's fast and cost effective. You need to know how this the different, why you are using what model. And once you go to what we refer to as the OpenAI, you see the definitions of each model, the amount for each token, and GPT-4o mini is kind of cheap, and that's why I'm using it. We could easily change the name of the model here, and we use other models. We could easily change this, but provided I'm using OpenAI, so we are using this. So once I run this guy, I have initialized my chat. Now I can use the chat to do anything I want to do. Now, the first thing here is response one. I want to tell this guy to, in simple terms, what is a data frame in R? Keep it under 2 sentences and assume I am a beginner. So this is a very cool example I kind of gave just so that we can start small. Yoruba will say, let's start from the smaller part here. So I am trying to explain, I want to use the chat. Now I have initialized GPT-4o mini. So now I am talking to the model. So anytime I call this, once I hit on this, now I've defined this. You can define anything within this. So now I define this, and you see in my console, a data frame in R is like a table or a spreadsheet. It gave me my exactly the question I asked, and it gave me my response. I can print response. You see, it automatically prints the response for me. But that's because something we call echo is set to default. But I'm going to talk about it, because sometimes we just do not want the output to come immediately. Now, if somebody said in the chat, I'm unable to install ellmer, a lot of these things you might be unable to install it if you are using the old versions of R. So you might want to download the latest versions of R, like 4.4.1 or 4.4.3. So you might have some issues around packages not working, but I think that you might want to, download the updated version so that they can work. Again, these packages are quite new, most of them 2025, so it's okay when they don't work. It's not because they are not working, it's because of the version of R you're using. So the second is asking for R code. Now I want to ask for R code. I want this to write a small R function called save min that takes a numeric vector, removes, and if you see how beautiful this is, to just have something that can easily write a function for me and I edit it and I'm good. Now you can see on the right here, this guy has written a R code for me. Here's a simple R function, just like I defined. Save me function x, min of x, remove NA is true, and calculating the mean. Basically, he explained this is exactly what a basic main function should look like, and he gave us an example as an output. How beautiful is that? Everything is within our R console, right? Everything is within our R console. Now you can modify these things. Now look, as you are seeing it, oh, okay, it makes sense. You have done that. I think I want to modify it. I said add input validation to check if x is numeric. I can run that. Now it has run the save min for me, but I want to ensure that I want to add something else. If numeric, stop if not numeric, just so that what we are doing is already. So you can do a lot of things. You can add document. Our oxygen is used for documentation, so you can do so much more. So that's the first example. The second example is, you see how this is, we don't want the results to show immediately. We want it to not just show directly. So we have echo to be none. Usually by default, echo is all, none, or test. Stream everything. Now it's going to stream everything live. You are going to be seeing everything as they are coming up. But if I want it, I don't want to be having my output to be bombarded like that. So let me just clear that guy. So to the same chart, but I'm just saying echo should be none, right? And this way you're not going to see the response until I want it to. Now let's say quiet answer. This will not print anything on the console, unlike what we had before. You see, it has run it, but it's not printing anything until I want to see it. Now I'm ready to see it. Now a factor in R is, it defined it because my echo is stated to be none. So unlike the initial one where we had our echo to be, we didn't state it. So by default, it picks all. So that's the first thing, is stream everything. Now, providing data context to LLM. When you are working, you want to, make LLM understand some concept of what you are doing so that the response kind of makes sense. So the first thing is, I'm using Iris data set. If you are familiar with R, you are familiar with Iris. So Iris data set, I'm using it. So first of all, I want to do some summary statistics and then pass that summary statistics into my chat interface. That way you understand the context of my question and give me response based on the context of my question. So let's run these two guys. And yeah, is build a prompt that includes, this is how you build your prompt. This is a prompt. Here's a summary of output of dataset R, Iris. This is the summary test. So I'm passing this summary test into my prompt. Now, based on this summary, please explain how many numeric columns are there, what are the species column, what are the range of sepal length. Keep your answer concise and user-friendly. And voila, we've run this. Now, because our echo is, of course, off, now we can get our response here. There are 4 numeric columns in the Iris data set. The species column, this exactly what I asked it. The range of sepal is from the minimum of 4.3, exactly what I asked it. So literally, we can use this to do basic explanatory variables, exploratory data analysis, just to explore what is in this data set, no matter how large it is. Now, why this work? LLM can now see. Yes, Friday, you should be able to, the session is recorded and is live streamed. If you go back, you should be able to understand exactly where we are coming from and what we're doing. So, LLM can now see your data, can make specific observation about your data. It avoids hallucination and provides accurate and relevant information. So the next one is create an helper function. This make this reusable. So we are just trying to create an helper function so that at every time we can easily call this helper function and use it. So an helper function, this the name of the data set, the dimensions, the structure, the first CISO, just so that this helper function can be used anytime we want to perform something similar to what we did. Now, use it. Now we are trying to do the same thing we did, but because we have created an helper function, which you can see there. Now, I want to use it on empty cars. Again, if you are our user, you know all of this. I'm using something familiar and something we can all relate to as our users. Empty cars is one of those data sets, iris and all of that. So now I have passed the empty cars into the function we created here, right? And now we want to call the chart. Based on this, suggest an interesting ggplot. You know, it's hard to just come up with plot. Once you see data, you look at it and be like, okay, should I plot? Which one should go on the x-axis? Which one should be on the y-axis? Yeah, sometimes it's very difficult to come up with those things, right? But for now, with these ellmer functions, you can do a lot more with your time. So let's just see what this guy is going to suggest. He's going to suggest, it's an interesting visualization using ggplot with the empty car data set could be a scatter plot that shows the relationship between mpg, miles per gallon, and the weight of the car, with the points colored by this number of cylinder. Here's the plot. Now you just need to copy this guy into your terminal and you use them. You just need to copy this and put it in your terminal and you get to use them. You see that within our R, we don't need to go anywhere else. We don't need to go anywhere else. And if you are using the unpaid version, you can have this for life. Just have them. Anytime you are writing code, you can just have them in your space and you are good. Now, this is another one, interactive live console. Now, this ellmer also provide this such that you are just you just want to create your own, literally your own chatbot within that space that you can ask questions until you are done with your analysis. Now, it's very simple. It's just live console chat. Now, provided you have called ellmer, you can just do this. Once you do this, you have turned your console to a chatbot. So entering chat console, ask any question, it provides it. You don't need anything, ask anything until you are tired. You just press type Q to quit. So let's say, what is R? Something simple. And you get R, explain the empty cars data set. Can you guys see? What analysis could I do here? He even suggested PCA, principal component analysis. You see how we can literally just have our chat interface working non-stop for us. And if you want to quit it, you just type Q and you are back to default. Does that make sense? You just type Q and you are back to default. And the last is just me giving you different, you can literally learn using this, help yourself as much as you can. Everybody have different things they are doing. So however it fits you, you can use ellmer. You can use it for iterative code development, a simple start, create a function to calculate a median of a vector, add parameter validation, undo empty vectors, add oxygen, write test at unit, something like that. Now, and also code review. This is another one. Let's run this code. This is for pattern. This is the code we ran. And let's get review to see if our code kind of makes sense or not. I'm going to get our review live and direct here. The code given is this, is that. So you get what I mean, so you can learn through questions. What is apply family of functions? If you hear, I last year or 2 years ago, I had janitor. Instead of jumping into the documentation, what they can do, or you come to this place, you know how we are quick to jump to our helper function here. Now, well, I think yeah, it's useful, but I think this is way better and easy to explain for people like me, not people like GBG. Those people are very smart. I mean, people like me will go to documentation 100 times and will still not get it. But I mean, thank God for these things now. We can make sense of a lot of things. So here is what is apply function. Can you show me an example of apply? When should I use apply? You can literally learn from the chat interface. That's basically what this is. Tips for effective prompts. All of this is just normal thing. And that brings us to the end of ellmer basic. I hope you've learned something with ellmer before we move to the next. I'll give just one question before we move to my guy Ganda. I'm going to clear all of this so that we always start from scratch. So, gentlemen, any question? Any question for me? Yeah, it's one of two things: either I'm doing well or everybody just get it. I will take the latter. Hopefully, I'm doing well. So now let's talk about Ganda. Now, first, why do we have Ganda? First, lately, there's no IDE you are using. VS Code, Spider, Jupyter, what's this? Google Colab, RStudio, Anaconda, anything you are using, they have Copilot embedded in them, which basically means ask questions, you have an assistant that can help you to do it. But with RStudio, I think we are not there yet. The Copilot is not functioning the way it's functioning with VS Code and the likes. So first thing I'm going to do first is initialize my GitHub Copilot. If you have GitHub Copilot, I have GitHub Copilot, so I use that. Positon to the rescue. Positon to the rescue. Thank you. Yeah, that makes sense. So I've initialized my GitHub Copilot. You should see this guy anytime from now. Showing. Copilot. I've enabled it. It's connected to my GitHub. Apply. And okay. Yeah, this guy is not ready to come yet. I wanted to show you the example between Copilot and Git and Ganda, why we do need Ganda. So for Copilot, usually, it's still not coming up. I don't know why. My Copilot is supposed to show up, but yeah, it's here. So first thing first is, let's run this guy and ask Copilot to give us responses. All ellmer has been doing is giving us code in the console, but with Copilot, you get code in this space here, and you don't need to have them in your console and copy it here. But with Copilot, you can do that. So let's say I have this to do. I call this guy model data. You won't see this Stack Overflow if you don't install the model data. Just in case you're trying that, you have to install the model data. I should write it. Install the model data. Okay. In case you are watching this, just do that. Install it. So now we have that, and we call our Stack Overflow data set, which is this guy here. And now we want, let's say, we want our Copilot to write this code for us. And look at it. Automatically, he wrote it for us because, I mean, this guy is actively working. And I will run it. Now, this is not going to work because Copilot just suggests. It doesn't have access to the environment variable. It doesn't have access to the environment variable. It cannot see the data set. So it just writes the script as it deems fit based on what you said. Plot salary versus years coded. Now, this is where Gander comes in. Before you use Gander, follow this step. Install ellmer. Gander is a function, is a sub of ellmer. Now install ellmer, then install Gander. We've talked about installing ellmer before. So install Gander. I have installed it, so I'm just going to call this guy. Now, one thing to note, because you might get stuck and this does not work. Okay, so one thing to note is that your Gander is supposed to function as an add-in. So once you install your Gander, you will come to add-ins. Once you come to add-ins, you will see Gander LLM Assistant. You will hit on it and you are ready to go. But one more thing, let me go through these tools and come to add-ins. Browse add-ins, tools, add-ins. You browse add-ins. Now you see Gander. I'm just going to click on Gander. And I need a keyboard shortcut so that anytime I need Gander, it's going to come up. So the keyboard shortcut I gave Gander, since it's G, I just gave it Control G. All you need to do, once you click on it, you put your hand on the key you want, the shortcut you want it to be. And I made mine Control G and apply. Now, anytime I need Gander, it's just a call away, if that makes sense. Now, what does Gander do? Let me show you what Gander do. Now, another issue you might have with Gander is Gander used a supporting this glue. It comes naturally with, once you install what's it called? It comes with the base packages. I think that, if that makes sense, it comes with the base package. So once you download most of these things, you see glue. And usually what we currently have is, a lot of us might have, is maybe 1.7. So you have to ensure that you have 1.8 so that Gander will work. Now, how to do it? You have to go to your locally, go to your WinR folder, wherever that is, and search for glue and delete it. Now you now come here and install glue and confirm the package version. Now for me, if you want to confirm my package here, you see my glue is 1.8.0. Now I think I'm good to use Gander, right? So I'm going to call ellmer since I'm using Gander. Now this you have to do, but once you run this, I have to come back and run my API key. You know, I'm starting a new section all over again. So I'm running my API key all over again. Now, why is Gander better? Gander understands your R environment, Copilot does not. Gander integrates directly with RStudio Positron as an add-in. Gander supports R tools like Chores, Buggy, Copilot does not. You choose the LLM in Gander, open where you are able to make choices. So now let's call Gander. I'll just hit on Control G. And here you go. Gander is here. So before we ask Gander question, let's go back to this example and see if Gander code is going to work without any aid. So let's do, we're plotting salary versus years coded. So Control G, I've initialized my Gander, plot salary versus years coded. And wait for it. And here you go. Okay, he's giving, I'm coming. Let me do this for, let's rerun this again. All of that, and let's do it again. Control G, plot salary and yes coded in the Stack Overflow data. All right, Mr. Henry, this is how to spell stack. So for some reason, this is also giving us yes as yes coded, and that is not what the Stack Overflow data defined the Y variable as. Is yes coded job. So they are unable to see the yes coded for some reason. But though Gander is able to see the environment, I'm unsure why it's not seeing this environment. We're going to retry this. However, let's jump on this and see other examples of Gander. Let's see this messy on data set, and the ask is, we want this to refactor this structure into the clean tidy verse. So I'm going to copy this. This is the ask. This is what I want Gander to do for me. This is what I want Gander to do for me. Control G, and I paste this. So you see how he went into the messy form. He was able to read the function, and he was able to modify this, if that makes sense. So multiply, he just literally did this for us, and this is exactly, you know how we code, we make it a lot cumbersome, but with Gander, we can easily make life easier for ourselves. And also example 2, we have this data set, this our iris guy, and we want this to explain this code step by step in English so that a beginner can understand it. So in a case where GBG send you a long line of code and you are lost, yeah, call Gander to the rescue, because those people can code what people doesn't understand. So yeah, you can see, create a new variable, load the dplyr package for data manipulation, create a new variable, filter out rows, group, summarize. You can see how he explained everything here with Gander. So you can see this is what Gander can do. Now, once you have anything, you have installed your Gander, Control G, then type your problem, and it's going to solve it and put them right into the interface. Then you can go and start making modification or anything you want. I hope everybody understands this, and that is what I'm going to be talking about for Gander. So I will give 1 minute for questions on Gander. Anybody online that asks question on Gander? Somebody said I'm very fast. It's because we have 2 hours for this section, and somehow we have a couple of things to cover. But what you can do is, once this YouTube is live, you can, instead of playing it on 1, you can make it 0.5 or 0. The speed. You can turn it to 0.5 so that you be able to, you know, follow step by step what I've been saying. That way you can catch up. We just need to, you know, maximize our time. That's why I'm a little bit fast. Kingdom Advancement, that's the person's name. All right. So any question on Gander? giving a couple of examples. Again, I don't know why he's not able to see this year's salary, but when I was doing it, he saw it. So I felt it would be cool to give us an example. And that's the example they actually gave in when they were launching Ganda. So I thought to use it. But the other example worked perfectly fine. All right, let's move to, I call this one by the way, just like the name, you know. Okay, add vitals. I don't need this here. I didn't talk about vitals. All right, so now with ellmer, we are able to do all the things I said we're doing, but we want to send our data frame as context to LLM so they can analyze and summarize them. So I want to, with BTW, by the way, we are not doing the MC tools. I wanted to do it, but again, I have the package installed. Let me clear this. For somebody asking what we're doing, I think once you watch the video from beginning, you get exactly what we're doing. And yeah, it's very self-explanatory. So the first thing again is to call library ellmer. You see, one of the founding founders is library ellmer. All of them have been using ellmer. So you call library BTW. You want to make sure that you are connected to OpenAI, which we are. And I'm going to run this just to make sure that we're good. If you see, I've been doing the same thing. I will run my API key run before, you know, just to make sure. And the first thing is BTW, create a chat object with ellmer. So this is how to create it if you are using BTW client. So you do this chat OpenAI. You see, this remains constant in everything we're doing, but it's just different because we're using a different package. So let's call this chat. And BTW, this is how to send all of these data sets so that they can easily, BTW can actually describe these things themselves. So we can have all of this and the explanations are all copied to the clipboard. So, but that's not necessarily what we want to do. Let me show you exactly what I mean when I say you are sending an object into your chat so the chat can understand. First, load the empty cars data set. Now, you know we have created our chat. This is how to call it, chat. So you are calling this thing. You're friendly how to explain things clearly in simple language. That's what we're calling. So now, to call it, we use chat. Now you are connected to my R section and you can use your R tools from the BTW to inspect. This is me defining what this is going to do. There is a data called empty cars. Please, because there's a data called empty cars, please tell me how many rows and columns it has. Briefly explain. And I run that and I print my answer. So what we have done here is connected empty cars to this. So now empty cars is now within BTW. Now BTW can understand it. The data frame empty cars has 32 rows, 4 important variables. He explained all of this, 2 interesting patterns. Would you like to explore any further relationship? We can go ahead and do any of that. We can put them in the prompt. So let's do a model with BTW and ellmer. This is a linear model. And we built a linear model based on ellmer, based on our empty cars data set. And I think one major thing about statistician is the ability to interpret. So to do this, you're connected to this, I've stated it, which is linear regression, to inspect an object called linear regression model, which is a linear regression fit. Identify the response variable. Say which predictor has the strongest effect. Explain the signs of coefficients. Mention a limitation or caveat. So everything you want to do when you are interpreting a linear regression model. So let's run this. And our BTW is working. Let's see his interpretation. And since we have Dr. Gagwa, he can best tell us if this guy is doing well or not. The response variable, what we want to predict is MPG. The predictor variable used to predict MPG are WT and HP, which is what we define in our LM function here. MPG distributed weight plus HP, right? So these are the predictors. They explain it properly. The predictor with the strongest effect on MPG is weight because its coefficient has the largest absolute value. Maybe we will not agree because we deal with significance level, right? But maybe this is a part, but I don't know if we will agree to that. But yeah, this is his interpretation. What the signs of the coefficient mean? The negative sign for weight means heavier cars tend to have lower MPG. You know, the Intercept 37 is estimated MPG for a car with 0 weight. Basically, everything we explained to it, you know, everything being explained here. But one thing is, the only thing that would differentiate is the fact that we don't just tend to know the strongest effects of MPG just with the coefficients. Yeah, I don't know if that's the only thing we use, but maybe we use the p-value and just to see, you know, we test the effect of the MPG of the weight on the MPG independently to see the, you know, all of this is just because I have some domain knowledge of statistics. That's why I can interpret. So for you, if you don't, you might want to just get everything garbage in, garbage out, which is one issue that you might have here. But if you understand it, it becomes easier for you to, you know, explain yourself properly. So another one is BTW plus ellmer data quality check. Now, if you look at this, we have ID, score, and group. There's NA everywhere in this, and there's NA here. And let's try to see how we pass this into our chart. Answer quality. Yeah, what we describe the data quality suggests 3 simple cleanup, show small example snippet for those fixes. Now, we told it to suggest cleanup, and we also told it to give us, you know, this is the data set, and it gave us the 3 things we want to do. The first is data quality issues. There's missing NA, there's a very large outlier, there's a missing value in the group. He gave us the example, and he also gave us the cleanup steps. You can see how neat this guy are. This is about mcptools. It's there, but I still feel that it's important that, you know, we get to understand what an agentic system is before, you know, we jump into mcptools, which is model context protocol. And that is kind of one of the last part of, you know. So let's jump into the next one, MOL. Any question on BTW? Well, basically, BTW sends your data frame R object into your user interface, your chat interface, such that the LLM understand exactly what you're doing. Your model, it can help you interpret, it can help you fix bugs and all of that. I believe my guy that asked Mohammed Ta'il that asked this question will be seeing ideas of how to, you know, solve your problem and integrate all of this into your working space and making life easier for you. So I'm going to run this really quick because we have less than 20 minutes for this section. And yeah, MOL perform row-wise NLP tasks like sentiment or classification analysis across data frame test columns. With MOL, you can do a couple of these things: sentiment analysis, sub-classify, extract, summarize, translate, verify. And we are going to be doing all of that. You know, the backend is, again, what we're using is OpenAI key. We've already set all of that. Let me just clear this. I'm cleaning just so that the guy gets to know exactly what is going on. So I'm just going to call these 3 guys. And the first is configure the backend. Let's see. Okay. Let me run my API key just to make sure that I'm not getting any errors. So tell me to use this chat object for all LLM calls. So I'm integrating this chart into the LLM. This is a function in MAL that says use this chart to do anything you want to do. So we're going to run that. Now the first is load our example. Now in the MAL package, we have this data called reviews. Let me show you what the data looks like so that we all have a context of what this data look like. And these are reviews. We have just 3 reviews. This has been the best TV I've ever used. Great screen and sound. I regret buying this laptop. It is too slow and the keyboard is too noisy. Not sure how to feel about my new washing machine. Great color, but hard to figure. So yeah, you have 2, 1 positive, 1 negative, 1 neutral. So the first is sentiment analysis, and this is how the function is. Once you call on this data, you can easily look at what this sentiment analysis can do. You see sentiment, the data, the column, the options, the predictor name, and you're good. So that's just what we need to do. So let's hit on this review. Let's look on this sentiment analysis, and let's see what the outcome is for the sentiment analysis. So 1 is positive, negative, and neutral. This TV has been the best, of course. I regret buying it, negative. Not sure how I feel, neutral. You can see that the prediction is apt. Now, how much time will it take you to build a classification that could easily do this? Yeah, you need a ton of data sets to do that and a lot of time. So the second one is classify. We can classify. So we want to classify this as appliance or computer. You know, we have TV, we have washing machine, and we have laptop. So this is just going to classify it into that 3 parts. Let's see if you did it well. So the first is TV, of course, is appliance. The second is laptop, computer, and the third is washing machine, appliance. So that's the second thing. The next one is LLM extract. This extracts product and feelings into separate columns. So we want to see if we're talking about the product or the feelings. So we're going to do this. We're going to get the feelings is great, regret, and unsure and confused. If you read the sentence, you are able to see it. And this is just another thing that you can do with MAL package, summarize, LLM summarize. And we're trying to get 10-word summary. And you see the 10-word summary, best TV ever, great screen, whatnot, and whatnot that you can get there. And the last part with MAL is translate, LLM translation. And we can translate this to Yoruba or French. Let's change this to Hausa. Let's see what will happen here. Since I'm from the north, I know how to speak Hausa. Let's see if AI understand Hausa. Kai, wannan shine mafi kyau. Ina jin kunya. What's this? Bana cikin kwansiya hankali. You see, basically it translated whatever this is to Hausa. And yeah, you can do all of this with sentiment analysis, sentiment analysis with MAL package, sentiment, classify, extract, summarize, translate. And I think this is more what we are familiar with. The last one is verify. Is the customer happy? Yes or no? Let's verify. The first guy is definitely happy. The second guy is not happy, and the third guy is not happy. Yes, no, because I mean it's unsure, so it's not happy. So basically, these are all we can do with the MAL package. Any question on this, you can drop it on the chat. I'm able to see it and I'm able to respond. But if there's no question, I'm going to move to Shiny Basic, and I'm just going to show you what we can do with Shiny Basic. Shiny Basic, Shiny Cat here is building a small chatbot within your Shiny application. So maybe building more like a customer care to be able to ask questions and just, you know, use it in the Shiny app. And I'm just going to, you know, it's just a few lines of code and we are up and running with our Shiny user interface. So let's run this guy. Of course, I have them all installed, so you have to install them. This has been, if there's nothing you should remember, you should remember this guy. This has been, we've been using this for a long. And again, remember to change any of this model, just press chat, anyone you have access to. And I think you should explore Chat Grok because their models are for free. Okay, so you can explore Chat Grok. But I'm OpenAI guy every day, today, tomorrow, next tomorrow. I like OpenAI, so I am a big fan of OpenAI. So this is all you need to do, and your Chinese chatbot is up and running. And this you can just add to your Shiny app, and you are good. This will definitely show up. So let's run this. I'm just gonna run this way. So it's loading. Let's wait for it. Are we able to see it though? I don't think so. Sorry, let me stop. I think we can see that. Okay. Sorry, I've been sharing. All right, I believe we can see it now. So I'm going to cancel this and relaunch it again. I just copy and control enter to run it, and let's wait for it. And now we are good. We are here. This is our chatbot. How can we use R in LLM in R? Let's see. You see how this guy is responding to our chat using OpenAI GPT with AI, install HCTR. It gave us, series of options using Hugging Face transformers, making API calls. You can see all of this is our packages for NLP, using LLMs locally, conclusion. So you can basically see how we created a mini chatbot within our R, and we can embed this anywhere on our Shiny app. I'm just gonna close that, and you can publish it if you have your your Shiny app workspace. You can publish it and you can call it anytime, and you're good. So that will be all I want to be teaching today. I'm going to be talking about, again, there's more, but the time is short. People are even complaining I'm pretty much fast. But then, I'm just trying to make sure we get to do all of these things. So this is the project I kind of put together. You have all of this code. I've sent my GitHub Copilot, so you can download every one of this. If you get into error, these are not the days where you stay stuck. Once you get into error, jump into any of this user interface and try to fix the error. Understand what you need to do. You need more of the how, the technical know-how. What am I doing? How am I going to implement this? Than you memorizing code. I don't think anybody have to memorize as much code as we used to prior to now. But again, once you start doing it, repetition, they say better understanding and clarity. Once you start doing it again and again and again and again, you just naturally see that you flow. I want to believe that if GBG closer and start using let's say tidyverse, he can write a ton of line of code, and that's not because he has those code memorized. It's because of the replications of things he has been doing. So I'm just going to save this and run this app also, just so we see the project and see what we can do with the app. Well, go through the code. I touch base on different things that we've talked about, that we did literally everything that was done. I used ellmer, I used BTW, I used mol, and I used shiny. So this is the chat bot. That's the first one I created. Ask anything about BTW, and this is for sentiment analysis. Adiola, can you give me a good sentiment question? Like, I like the do you like the training section? Let me start with that.
Oh yes, I enjoyed every bit of it. I have I've already lost your repo already and try to do this. Yeah, it was an amazing session.
Okay, let's see if our sentiment analysis is going to tell us if it's positive. I enjoyed every bit, so it's positive. So you can see that, you know, we've had all of this training section put together, and again, you have access to all of these things. And thank you so much. That will be the end of my presentation, and I'm open to any questions.
Right. Thank you so much, Henry. That was an amazing session, pretty much. I was feeling every point of it, and at some point when that code was not running, I had to like keep going. Okay, since you now mentioned someone said he's so fast, and I was like, okay, the session is live, is recorded, so I can always go back to it.
Yeah,
yes. And
definitely.
if you don't mind, you can always help drop your LinkedIn handle. We can always follow you to ask you questions if you don't mind.
Yes, please. You have my GBG, have anything, my email, and please, you can reach out to me at any time to contact.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. So I want to say a very big thank you to Dr. Garba. Yeah, without Dr. Garba, we can't be here today.
Thank you, Dr. Garba.
He's trying to pull everyone into this our ecosystem generally. The impact is quite large when it comes to Dr. Garba. I've heard good things about him. I've not met him one-on-one. Yes. So Dr. Garba, I want to say a very big thank you.
Of his classes. So
oh, nice. So Dr. Garba, I'm fixing you up on meeting you very soon. So thank you so much, Dr. Garba. We really appreciate all the impact you're trying to give to us. The impact is quite large when it comes to Dr. Garba. I've heard good things about him. I've not met him one-on-one. Yes. So Dr. Garba, I want to say a very big thank you. Of his classes. Oh, nice. So Dr. Garba, I'm fixing you up on meeting you very soon. So thank you so much. Okay, Dr. Rabbi is playing the audio for us.
I want to thank the guest speaker.
Okay.
I want to thank our guest speaker.
Thank you, sir.
I'm very happy that that is giving back to the community.
Thank you, sir.
I'm very happy that he's giving back to the community. And it's my pleasure to see him again after a long time.
Yes, sir.
And I hope when we call him again, he'll be glad to answer our call.
Definitely.
Thank you, Adiola, for doing the job well. And GBG, thank you for your efforts. I thank everybody for attending this meetup. And when we call you for the next one, I hope, I'm very sure that you all attend in large number. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you so much, Doctor. We really appreciate the impact session. And thank you so much, Mr. Henry. We really had a good time today. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining online. If you have any questions, please reach out to any of us to answer your questions. Until we meet again, it's goodbye, everyone. Bye.